Daddy, I need you. Daddy.
Yo, Thought Warriors. What is up? Higher Learning is on. It is I, Van Lathan Jr.
And it's me, Rachel Lynn Lindsay.
I made up a
Donnie,
new song.
make sure you start the audio from the Daddy, I Need You.
I made up a new song. Oh, Daddy, I need you. Oh, Daddy, 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 yeah. I don't know why it jumped in my head this morning. I don't know.
I don't either. What was the inspiration behind that?
Well, I had a stressful day yesterday.
Oh, great. Oh, you had a stressful day. Okay.
Yeah, it was a stressful day. So this is what happened yesterday. Obviously, there was the tremendous LSU loss. It's a rebuilding year. We got to rebuild.
We'll talk about it. Go ahead. Keep going. We'll talk about that in a second.
Tremendous LSU loss. It's a rebuilding year. But also, I went and got my body worked on to help with my back, and the guy was phenomenal. Good. But it was some of the most intense pain I've ever experienced in my life. Apparently, my hip flexor muscles are all tight. I've been boxing for months and not stretching. And now there's all this tension in my hip flexors. And this guy got the tension out of the hip flexors, and god damn it, like, so funny. I lay down and he goes, oh, wow, yeah. Yeah, see this right here? I'm like, what? He goes, see how this moves and this doesn't move? And he goes, all right, I'm going to administer pain, and it's going to be like on a 6 level, you know? It's like, I got to get in there.
That's high.
I got to get in there. And the whole time, he's like, the whole time he goes, no, if you need me to stop, just say stop. So you know that I'm never going to say stop now, right? Because I ain't going to police. You know what I'm saying? Okay. And
can see how this is going.
He went to work. It's good, though. My hip flexors are loose, though. At least he loosened them
That's
up.
what I was going to say. How do you feel this morning?
It was good. But I think when I was on the table, he was very sore. When I was on the table, I was like, in my mind, I was like, oh, Daddy. Oh, Dad. Oh, Father. Okay. Oh, Father in heaven, Daddy. Is it weird to call God Daddy?
I'm not familiar with many people using that phrase towards him, but sure, go at it. Listen, was this guy a professional stretcher?
Yeah, he works with the U.S. volleyball team. He works with the Olympic team.
Is this your first time going to a professional stretcher?
God, most likely a woman. Yes.
Life-changing.
Yeah.
Is it not? I had one in Miami. I will never get a massage again. I mean, when I was in Miami. I'm sorry, what?
I'm litigating something in my head. Go ahead.
Okay. I had never felt that kind of release in my life. You think a massage helps you release anything? Getting stretched, like they would strap me down to the table, like put a strap on, move your leg this way. Is that the kind of stuff that was happening?
Oh, like my God. He's got the thing.
It's amazing.
He's got a blade, and he's scraping the blade across your body, going, I'm loosening up your nerves. You're very tight. He's like, relax. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, dog, I'm relaxed. He's like, no, you're not. I'm like, hey, I'm doing my best, motherfucker. It's great. It's great.
Now let's revisit something else you said.
LSU.
The loss of LSU.
Yeah, they lost.
I wanted to come here and give it to you more, but you already walked in saying it's a rebuilding year. So I can't do too much because Texas won their game, right?
Who did they play?
It doesn't matter. We blew them out.
We did this last year. We did this last year when you were talking about how much Texas won that game. Then they play Arkansas and they got fucked up. So,
but they didn't this time. I think it was 45-0. Probably wrong on that score. Anyways, they blew them out.
Texas looks good. I'm not gonna lie.
But this is what I'll say about LSU. You were quick to say it's a rebuilding year. But I thought that was a fantastic game. It was fun to watch. Obviously, it literally came down to a second. I don't know. I think they're better than a rebuilding year.
No, I think when you the things you have to look at in the game are like the unbelievably stupid mistakes that were made. 2 muffed punts, 2 blocked kicks, a blocked field goal, and a blocked extra point to tie. You know what I mean? Like, obviously, they're rebuilding. Mason Taylor, the fantastic young tight end that blocks out instead of down on the kickoff, and then we get beat off the edge. You know, those are things that he's a true freshman. So those are things. And
Jason Taylor's son,
a fantastic player, going to be one of the greatest tight ends in LSU history. He's a true freshman. Will Campbell starting at left tackle, true freshman. Patchwork offensive line. It's a rebuilding year. Like, I think this game was a good reality check for all the LSU fans to know that we're going to be in for a year where we see the team really have to get over some humps. But look,
what do you think about Daniels?
I thought he played good for the most part. To me, if I think he's not a perfect quarterback. There could be, you could talk about whether or not he goes throughout his progressions before he tucks in and runs with it. But the guy passed for 209 yards. He ran for 116 yards. Like, without him, we're not even close. I mean, we drove 99 yards in 1 minute and 20 seconds and scored a touchdown. That's like old school Saints shit. Do you remember the time? I don't know if people remember this. Mongoose might remember it. Rachel, you might remember it. Do you remember the time?
Stop.
Do you remember the time where the Saints were down to Jacksonville and Jacksonville scored late, right? Jacksonville scored late and they kicked the ball off to the Saints. And we needed a touchdown to tie. And we returned the kickoff. I think maybe like with 30 seconds left or something. We returned the kickoff for a touchdown. All of these laterals returned the kickoff for a touchdown. And then we missed the extra point. And that's like what it felt like. Because a 99-yard drive with 120 left on the clock is nuts. It's nuts. And then you scored a touchdown with 1 second left. Your extra point gets blocked. It's just tough stuff.
But does it not, putting a positive spin on it, does it not make you feel hopeful that you can do that?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I think in the second half we started to find some things, but it's just tough. Top Gun Maverick just passed Black Panther to become the 5th highest grossing movie ever at the domestic box office. What do you feel about that? How you feel?
I mean, America I'm not surprised.
Maverick more than Black Panther.
You said what?
America likes Maverick more than Black Panther. How do you feel?
No, Black Panther 2 might be Top Gun 2.
It might. Doubt it.
It might. You don't know.
Actually, I think that it will.
But you also have to look at the timing of Top Gun 2. I mean, it was purposely pushed back to be the movie to do exactly what it's doing now. Bring people back to the theaters, get people excited, start at the top of become the movie of the summer. Now it's the movie of the year. Like, the timing really helps it all fall into place.
Did you like the movie?
I did, because I don't like the original.
You don't like the original Top Gun? What's your beef with it?
It's disjointed. It's like a bunch of different scenes rather than one. It doesn't flow. Like Top Gun 2 flows. I know exactly what the goal is. I know where we're headed in the movie and what we're trying to do. The first one is just like a bunch of random scenes together. And I watched it before I watched the new one, and it even highlighted that even more.
Did you had you ever seen Top Gun before?
About it, it's like this. I had seen pieces of it, scenes of it. And then I realized as I watched the movie all the way through, oh no, I have seen the movie, because that's all it is. It's just a bunch of scenes. It's the soundtrack. It's the iconic bar scene. That's what people talk about, not the movie as a whole. I feel like, I don't know, Top Gun original wasn't my thing. And the second one blows it out the water.
So the second one is better, but let me tell you something.
And I said that to Tom Cruise and I interviewed him. I go, dare I say it? The second one's better than the first. And
it is. But I will say this about the original Top Gun.
Yeah.
The original Top Gun is not a movie that was made to be seen for the first time in fucking 2002. How you missed Top Gun. I saw
pieces of it.
I just don't understand. I mean, by the way, hey, Rachel, you are who you are, baby. I love you, support you, protect you, all of those things. But the reality of the situation, I just don't understand how you go that many years and you never watched Top Gun.
I never cared to. It didn't appeal to me in that way. I'm sorry. It's just not my jam. We've been through this before. I was prohibited from seeing so many movies that I just got to the point where I was like, I don't care. And that's really what happened. I would love to have the love of movies that you do. Unfortunately, that was taken away from me.
Well, so besides basketball, what did you do for fun as a kid?
Besides that, I ran track.
Besides basketball, because nigga, we all played sports. So besides playing sports,
you just mean besides?
Well, yeah, because like we played sports, right? So I played every single sport you could play and tennis. I was a big round nigga out there on the tennis court with the tennis team. But after that, I came home. I watched movies. You know, I played video games. You know, all kinds of stuff. Magic cards. What did you do for fun? What did little Rach do for fun?
Okay, we're age. I did a lot of make believe.
Okay. This is good.
I watched a lot of movies, but they were like PG rated movies. And then I would act out these movies. I did a lot of like playing in the neighborhood. I did a lot of playing in the neighborhood with friends. We did a lot of make believe. I did a lot of like acting out, having my sister and my friends act out certain like redo movies when we were kids. Yeah.
Okay. So you saw movies just not good movies.
I had a creative mind.
You're a very creative person. You saw movies just not good movies.
That's your opinion.
What movies did you see?
We watched a lot of Disney Channel.
Okay.
A lot, not as much Nickelodeon. We were Disney kids.
Right. Nickelodeon's all fucked up. You should be glad you didn't watch it. The Nickelodeon guy was fucking child molester or something like that.
Yeah.
Allegedly.
Yeah.
Allegedly. This guy was all fucked up. Did you see all that stuff about that guy, Dan Schneider from Nickelodeon?
Yeah.
He's a foot fetish, making the kids do all kinds of feet stuff. And it's so weird. It's just fucking weird. All making kids do feet stuff is weird. Weirdo stuff. But yeah, so you had a lot of make believe in these movies. What were some of your top movies that you liked?
I mean, we talked Polly on this that you had never seen in your life, which you asked people. We talked about this. I was backed up. Okay. Most people, Black people, have Polly in their childhood. I'm telling you they did.
Not of my generation.
We're the same generation.
No, I'm a little older. Like, niggas wasn't fucking with that Polly shit.
We're 4 years apart. That's the same generation. Stop. What were your other personal favorites? All the Disney movies. Matilda was a personal favorite. Jack Matilda?
Yeah, Matilda was cool. It's for kids.
Matilda was a good one.
Some of these movies are for kids.
I was a kid.
Yeah.
I was a kid watching kid movies. That's what you don't understand. I did not watch PG-13 movies until I was 13. And I wasn't the kid that would sneak away and do it on my own. I played video games. Like N64 was big. Okay. I played Mario Kart.
Okay.
My dad's a big wrestler, so we did a lot of WCW wrestling on there.
Sweet.
He would always, and then as I got older, he would invite my friends would come over, like my guy friends would come over and play with him. Now, once I got into
what?
Yeah, like my dad would play video games with my guy friends.
That sounds fucking terrible. You come over to the house. That's controlled. See, the judge think he's slick. I love the judge. Let me tell you something.
Dating any of these
guys. The judge is a master. God damn, I look up to this man. This guy's a federal judge. Raised brilliant daughters. Amazing marriage that's intact. And he also was able to control his household. Yes. You come over to the house, you some little snot-nosed boy. I want to come over to see Rachel just to play video games. Okay, if it's about playing video games, then play video games with me. Yeah, you don't have to play video games with my daughter. If it's about playing video games, if that's all it's about, then sit down here and play video games with me. If it's really about the video games, then it doesn't matter who you're playing video games with. What you'll do is you'll play video games with me. And you come down, you play video games with the judge, not even knowing that they're being controlled. They're being controlled by the judge. I love it.
Were my friends. Okay. Stop. These were my friends. But by the time I hit 14, I was clubbing.
Oh my God.
And I was fully able to. Because that's when teen clubs were big back then. Teen clubs were big. I don't even know if they do teen clubs anymore. But I was allowed to go out to the clubs at 14. That's when I started hanging around Shaheem.
See, this is what happens, though. See, this is what happens. If a kid doesn't have a proper childhood, which you clearly didn't, all it does, all it does is cause them to actually grow up faster. Like it causes them to grow up faster when you got them in there and it's all about the walls of Jericho when they should be watching all kinds of different. Look, we watch kiddie movies as well. I jest because the Never Ending Story, the Flight of the Navigator. You hated
Oh, Flight of the Navigator is that was one of my
Flight of the
favorites,
Navigator
too.
is amazing.
Flight of the Navigator is great.
You kids don't even know about Flight of the Navigator. You know. And by the time you came along, were there still cartoons or was that era over?
Well, we watched Care Bears. We were big into
Love the Care Bears.
we were big into the Care Bears.
I was more of the Care. Have I told you about the Care Bear
My
cousins?
Little Pony.
Oh no,
I love Care Cousins.
Yeah.
My Little Pony we were into. But I watched like Darkwing Duck and DuckTales and stuff like that. Yeah.
My dad was too toxic for My Little Pony. He caught me watching it once and he was like, nigga, get your ass up, go outside and start a fight. Because I got into My Little Pony for like a second. Because like it became a point to where whatever was coming on, like I was watching it. Now I have a She-Ra story, which I'm sure I've told on the podcast. So I wasn't into She-Ra. But My Little Pony, I'm like looking, I'm like, oh, this shit ain't bad. He comes on
It wasn't bad.
I'm like, yeah, this is kind of cool. I come in, my dad looks at me, get your ass up, go outside, stab somebody. like go outside and like you're not about to we're not that progressive. And so he actually stopped me from watching My Little Pony. It's a true fact.
That's I'm trying to think of the issue, but I mean, whatever. Captain Planet?
I never could fuck with him.
Really?
Cause it's like I have a problem with him because you could stop him just by pollution. Like he was cool, but like all you have to do to stop him is to pollute the earth. That's his weakness. Like I understood the message and I liked it. The message was important. You know what I mean? But I can't, like Superman, for you to get some kryptonite, you have to really, so Batman vs. Superman is not a great movie, but it does do one thing really well. It tells you just how hard it is to get kryptonite. Because Lex has to go through all of these machinations to get kryptonite. Kryptonite is Superman's weakness, but it's incredibly hard to get. Man, I could get some trash from anywhere. I could get some, you know what I'm saying? I could get some trash, some waste. And it's like, that's too pronounced of a weakness for me, for Captain Planet. You know, and plus it came on like TBS and it just didn't.
What came on Saturdays in the morning? Because I was big into all of that. I watched Power Rangers for sure.
Okay, that worked.
Big into. Oh, you approve that?
Yeah.
You approve that? Yeah. Whatever came on Saturday morning cartoons, I was very into.
Well, it was different because remember, the golden age for me of Saturday morning cartoons, I've said this before, was just up until the time that Saved by the Bell got popping. Saved by the Bell ruined the Saturday morning cartoon, in my opinion.
I loved Saved
by
the Bell. So.
But Saved by the Bell started this trend of NBC saying, hey, man, are like 13-year-olds watching Saturday morning cartoons? Because Saturday morning cartoons, I mean, there was a moment where everybody had a cartoon. John Candy had a cartoon. Ralph Macchio had a cartoon. Mr. T. Everybody had all of these great. And then there was Dungeons and Dragons. Then there was all of these things that came on Saturday morning, and it was really super dope. G.I. Joe. Sometimes G.I. Joe came on in the afternoon, depending on where you were. But anyway, but then Saved by the Bell comes out. I mean, it's like, I remember I started watching Saved by the Bell like maybe like 89, something like that. And it comes out. And after that, Saturday morning starts getting dominated by like teen sitcoms. Saved by the Bell, California Dreams, Hang Time, City Guys. Like
this is when I watched it.
Yeah.
Hang Time.
Yeah.
City Guys.
And they started playing Saved by the Bell like 4 times. They wouldn't just do one Saved by the Bell. They do 2 Saved by the Bells. And then it was like, oh, you got an hour of Saved by the Bell. Let's do an hour and a half of Saved by the Bell. And then by the time you know it, your cartoons are really on between, they give you like a block of cartoons between 6:30 and 6:45. And they're like, all right, cool. Now Mark Paul Gosselaar in Mark's life. They had all of these different fucking spinoffs.
I love that. I love that era. Also, I played the piano. So, that was another thing I did.
God damn, you had a real, you know what? I changed my mind. You had a real childhood. The rest of us had these raggedy ass experiences full of different media that we call a childhood. You know what I mean? It's like, hey, what did you do during your childhood? Like, Van, what did you do? Shit, I seen Harlem Nights. That's a childhood. No, your childhood is the real childhood where you're running around, doing faith-based plays in the neighborhood.
We did. Vacation Bible School.
Vacation
BBS,
Bible School.
as we called it.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then, you're doing...
we went to the library. We went to see children's plays.
Piano. Like, my childhood was basically come home from school. Boy, what you doing in this fucking house? Get your ass outside and do something. That was childhood. And then we would go outside and we would figure out what we were going to do. And as kids, we entertained ourselves.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Interesting. Very interesting. Okay. Now that we've had really fun and engaging banter, it's time to get to all the bullshit going on in the world. On the other side of this is the big deal of the day. All right, Rachel, were you a big weed smoker when you were a kid? Smoke a lot of weed?
I was not.
When did you first smoke weed, Rachel?
I've never discussed this conversation before.
You've never discussed this before?
Not on a podcast.
When was the first time you smoked weed? Tell us.
I don't remember. I don't recall.
So you telling me you smoked so much weed that you can't remember the first time you smoked weed? Look,
if
Pretty Hair.
That's what you're taking from that?
If you're listening to this, Pretty Hair, the judge, if y'all listening to this, your daughter has a problem. It's very sad.
I first tried it in college under the influence of a problematic boyfriend.
You let these niggas get you hooked on drugs, man.
On drugs.
Just traffic.
On drugs. No, that's when I first tried it. That was college.
All right. The judge. So
You?
I smoked weed with mom. Mom gave me a joint.
Oh.
Yeah.
What age?
17, 18? I might have been just out of high school, something like that. Mom gave me a joint. I don't know if she's going to remember that.
Did you like it?
I didn't know how to do it.
Yeah. Usually don't. First time.
I didn't know how to do it. But my mom, there was this whole thing that happened in the house when we realized that mom was smoking weed. Ebony went into mom. You know what? Never mind. Because the last time we had conversations about this, people accused me of snitching on my mom with the whole petty cash thing. So I'm not doing that.
Already have. You're halfway there. You already have.
Well,
this story.
It's a very funny story just about how there was this scandal in the house once we realized that mom and dad was smoking weed, right? It's a scandal in the house. And after the scandal happened, she became like fucking basically Cheech and Chong. After the wool was off the goddamn fucking.
Why hide it?
She was my mom was listening to Bone Thugs and Harmony. She took my Bone Thugs and Harmony CD. This is a true story, and was smoking weed to Bone Thugs and Harmony, talking about hitting that reefer.
The weeds don't get no better.
Like she was smoking weed, listening to the Bone Thugs. I'm like, and after that, it became like, nah, nigga, you a little too cool. She's a great mother. Okay, anyway. So speaking of weed, Pennsylvania Governor Tom Wolf and Lieutenant Governor John Fetterman, my guy, announced an effort to pardon state residents of nonviolent marijuana offenses. That deserves some applause. Donnie put that in right now. According to CBS News, people with a select number of convictions will be able to get a pardon with a simple click of a button. Through the new Pennsylvania Marijuana Pardon Project, residents can submit an online application to appeal to have a pardon for their non-violent marijuana offenses. According to a press release on the project, Wolf has granted 2,098 pardons since taking office, 326 of which were part of an expedited review for non-violent marijuana-related offenses. This is in contrast to the 1,805 total pardons that were granted in the 15 years prior. Think about that increase. In 15 years prior to that, you have 1,800. Since Wolf has taken office, you have 2,000. That's called progress. The governor said, I've repeatedly called on our Republican-led General Assembly to support the legalization of adult-use marijuana, but they've yet to meet this call for action from myself in Pennsylvania. Until they do, I am committed to doing everything in my power to support Pennsylvanians who have been adversely affected by a minor marijuana offense on their record. Caveat. Those eligible for a pardon must have been convicted of either marijuana possession and personal use in a small amount. The catch is that only those without additional convictions on their record can apply. Give this entire thing a letter grade if you were giving it a letter grade, Rachel.
Say the last part. Only those without convictions.
Without additional
other
convictions.
Other convictions.
Other convictions. In addition to the marijuana convictions can apply.
And it doesn't. I'm going to say it's a B+.
B+, okay. A solid B.
What do you give it?
Solid B for me. Solid B.
Okay.
Solid B. And a B is all you need, by the way. There's no such thing as an A+ in politics. We want A pluses. I mean, we want them, right? We want $150,000 in free. Like we want A pluses, but B to a B plus in politics, that's a win. That's certainly a win.
Yeah.
Shit, a fucking C is a win, but B to B plus, that's a win. I think this is a positive step. It's interesting to me that the decriminalization of marijuana is still a political issue. You would think that both sides would be volleying to take that issue by the throat and get all the votes from it that they can. I wonder why do you think that both sides would be willing to do that? I mean, unless you're on the right side, unless you're looking at it from an economic standpoint, but otherwise they use this as a talking point for issues in upcoming elections. They certainly do
against the Democrats. So I'm not shocked that it's still an issue, because there's a huge sector, I think, of society that still wants to blame weed as a gateway drug and say that it causes other problems, leads to high crime, without knowing statistically that it actually doesn't do either one of those things.
I would just think that this would be something akin to criminal justice reform, to where there's a lot of ways to act like you're doing something here and then not actually have to do it, right? It wouldn't really change Pennsylvania that much to decriminalize marijuana. It would change it in the better, should I say? But it's something that you could do with very little, to me, political backlash.
Wait, is it decriminalized in Pennsylvania? It
hasn't. No, it hasn't been. He's been calling on it to be decriminalized. If you think about criminal justice reform, that was something that for a long time was strictly an issue that the left was championing. But because of Trump and the mostly neutered First Step Act that was passed, the right has been able to claim criminal justice reform as part of what it is that they do, right? And I'm surprised with it. It's all moralizing that they're holding on to demonizing marijuana in this way. I'm surprised at it, actually, because that, to me, I think the Democrats should go harder, because that's a layup right now. And in terms of generating cash and the business that legal weed is becoming, to see it still become still be an issue that's being volleyed around in places like Pennsylvania, is peculiar to me, and it shows to me that people can be politically stupid, because I think that's politically stupid to be on the side of demonizing marijuana at this point.
Well, so you're more saying that the Democrats should be doing more, because right now this governor is up against a Republican legislature, if I'm understanding it correctly, which is why it hasn't been decriminalized in Pennsylvania.
Well, I'm not saying anything that basically places blame with anyone. I mean, I think all these steps are the right steps. And obviously, I have things to say about the fact that once you have that weed conviction, it makes your life a little bit more difficult to exist in the public arena. So that first weed conviction that's actually a gateway to having more criminal convictions. So I think when I look at this, I see the last part of that, those without additional convictions, they can't apply. I think that's a little simple. I think if you had no other violent convictions, and super violent things, then you should still be able to apply. And even in that case, I'd say you should still be able to get nonviolent. Well, you know what? Fuck that. No matter what you've done, if you have a nonviolent weed charge on your record, you should be able to get it off your record.
You should be able to get it off.
It doesn't matter what you've done. When we're talking about the nonviolent weed offense itself, we have to take that out of the American demonization machine. But I guess my overall point, and it wasn't really pointed at this, it's just, it is surprising to see weed still being demonized in this way. I know that it is, but it just shows you how allergic to progress one faction of the country is. It's like not a thing anymore, right?
Well, you would think it's not a thing anymore, but I do think it's still a thing to a large sector of the population. I think what's really interesting about this is that although many states are patting themselves on the back for passing the legalization of marijuana, very few have moved in this manner as the governor of Pennsylvania is doing, which to me is surprising that more people haven't taken the next step. More people with power, I should say, haven't taken the next step to do what, what's his name? Tim Wolf?
Yeah,
Governor Wolf.
Tom Wolf, the Wolf Man.
Tom Wolf. What the Wolf Man is doing in Pennsylvania. Because to me, if you're serious about, okay, you want to decriminalize marijuana, right? Because of the impact that it has, the disproportionate impact that it has on Black and brown people, on people with lower socioeconomic status. And that's your purpose for decriminalizing it, because it's not all of these things that people have said it is. It's not a gateway drug. It doesn't increase crime or serious crime. If you really believe that and you're trying to prevent that, then why would you not go back and help the people who have been impacted by this law and fix it? To me, that's the obvious next step. So it's shocking to, not shocking to me, but it's interesting to me, I should say, that very few states have done what he's doing and should be doing. And hopefully that, I mean, with this B to B plus grade that we're giving it, hopefully we see other people doing that, because Wolf is done. His term is done. He can't run for re-election in 2023. And the next governor who comes in might change it. What is promising, though, is that the lieutenant governor also stood up with him and bringing this about. And he's running for U.S. Senator against like the Dr. Oz and whoever else. Somebody else's Trump back.
Oz the Great and embarrassing.
And hopefully this guy has influence on the, Senate and other ways, and government in other ways.
So in this situation, it reminds me of something that America is really allergic to. America's bad at a lot of things, right? We talk about the things that America's bad at. Good at some things, good at droning, make a good hamburger. That's tasty. You know what I mean? Like the tasty hamburger, good at football, good at basketball, good at some things. I'm not, let's not get down. Come on, man. Let's not get down.
Sure, they get some things
right. They do. They're good at some things. You know what I mean? Good at good surfers. All kinds of different stuff. Nate, you know what? Donnie, jump in. Name some things that America, we never do this. Name some things that America's good at.
Hunting, guns. Good at guns.
Okay, maybe not the way that. Okay, I meant guns. I meant
racism.
I meant positive stuff. Wait a minute. See, you guys are taking it a different way. See, wait. Not look. Like I meant positive things, but okay, you got we're good at guns. Things that we're bad at. One thing that we're bad at is restorative justice. Like we're bad at that. We're bad at restorative justice.
Sure.
Some would say we're bad at justice, period, but restorative justice, we're super bad at. So in order to really address the disparities in in marijuana law and drug law, period, going back, America would really have to be laser focused in what they could do to restore some of the communities that have been disproportionately affected by some of these things. And with the big $1 billion business that weed is becoming right now, there are very easy ways to do that. To incentivize certain segments of the population that were preyed upon by these laws in the past. But people are dragging their feet to do that, right? You know what I mean? But to your point, that's maybe why we don't see that. But hopefully steps like this in Pennsylvania, the baby steps will lead to great giant leaps. We'll see. All right. The face of America welfare fraud has always been some Black mother with 17 children who's having babies for just a check for the government. Reagan started this back in the day, maybe a little bit before Reagan. The welfare queen trope was something that was used to show just how lazy, shiftless, and conniving the working class poor could be when it comes to living off the government. But you know what we didn't know, Rachel? You know who the face of welfare fraud. Do you know who the biggest welfare queen in America might be? Brett Favre. Jesus Christ. Oh my God. Brett Favre, the man who showed his penis years ago. He's been questioned by the FBI over Mississippi welfare money. Lawyer says Brett Favre's lawyer, Bud Holmes. God damn. Bud Holmes?
What? Move past the name.
Bud Holmes, man. That's a lynching ass name. So it's
the bud.
That's a lynching ass name. We gotta go round that nigger up. Who's going? Me, Skip, Bud Holmes. Like, that's a lynching ass name. I was like, that's a cool. Bud Holmes says his client was questioned by the FBI in Mississippi in a welfare fraud case that has followed him for more than 2 years, according to Ken Delanian and Laura Stricker of NBC News. Here's the situation for you guys that might not know. Of course, you guys know who Brett Favre is, NFL great, one of the greatest, if not erratic, quarterbacks in the history of the league, and one of the proudest sons of Mississippi. You ever been to Mississippi before?
I've driven through it. Yes.
Have you ever talked to like a Mississippi football fan about Brett Favre?
No.
They fucking love this guy.
Yeah. Hometown hero.
Hometown hero. Phil Bryant is accused of paying Favre, former governor Phil Bryant, is accused of paying Favre $1.1 million in 2017 and 2018 to make motivational speeches, appear at promotional events, and appear on the radio. The state was giving $70 million from the federal government through the Temporary Assistance for Needy Families program, which is designed to provide financial assistance to those in need. An auditor said in March 2020 that the money went to the Mississippi Community Education Center and Family Resource Center of North Mississippi. Instead, it went to people who did not need the money. Okay. It was supposed to go to those places, should I say. It went to people who didn't need the money, including Favre, who made tens of millions of dollars during his NFL career. The money was also spread out to former WWE star Ted DiBiase Jr., who was ordered to repay the $3.9 million he allegedly received for serving as a motivational speaker. Also, former football star Marcus Dupree. Damn, they came in Marcus Dupree and fitness trader Paul Lacoste. Dupree and Lacoste were allegedly paid a combined $670,000. Another $5 million went to building a volleyball facility on the campus of Southern Miss. Okay. Your thoughts?
Mississippi. Did I say that weird? Mississippi has the highest poverty rate of any state in the country. Also, it's been shown that they reject more than 90% of poor Mississippians who apply for TANF assistance. Mississippi has some work to do. Mississippi is extremely corrupt. And if you listen to this podcast, you know we talked about it the very last episode we had about what's happening with the water system and how this is something that's been going on for years. They get $70 million to go towards this, and they're rejecting 90% of the people who apply for it and using the money to build stadiums and pay other rich people for speaking engagements or whatever. Lock everybody up.
Lock them all up.
The fact that Phil Bryant hasn't even been charged yet. Thank you to the U.S. Congressman Benny Thompson.
Mm-hmm. Benny.
Is that his name?
Benny T.
Who is calling
BT.
for Phil Bryant and others to be investigated, who wrote a letter to the Attorney General Merrick Garland and requested them to investigate and to look into this. The state is so corrupt. There's so many things that are going on and they're continuing to be exposed. You got to lock these people up and punish them. The fact that nothing has happened to Phil Bryant at the moment is ridiculous. This man is claiming that he didn't know how these funds were used. Clearly he had a hand in it. clearly he had a hand in it. Now, I can't say the same for those people who were paid through this. I don't know if they knew where the money was coming from. I don't know. But Phil Bryant did.
Yeah, I mean, look, the people taking the money is one thing. I'm not sure. I don't know the ins and outs of that. I'm not sure how much culpability they have. You know, it's, hey, you gonna pay me for something? Do you ask where the money's coming from? You know what I mean? So
No,
I'm not sure.
no.
I'm not sure how much, but I will say this. This is indicative of how people are victimized by the dysfunction in American systems. Okay. And it's really funny because the families that were supposed to get that money are routinely vilified. They're routinely vilified by politicians and by talking heads who say that they don't want to work, who say that they don't want to get out there and be a part of the American economy, that they have nothing to offer.
Sure.
The lie, the trope that I used about the welfare mother earlier, that's like something that's used to paint an American in a pernicious light, like a dangerous light. Like it's like this person is an economic danger to America. Whereas the system that allows people to continue to get rich, to continue to sort of, let me put it like this. None of this shit is an accident, right?
Not at all.
Like none of it's an accident. Like Mississippi has problems. At some point, somebody recognized that Mississippi has problems when you're talking about a state that deals with this much poverty. So then there's let's help out. And then somebody at the top of that is grabbing that money and putting it into the pockets of people who they love and revere for whatever reason. Like in America, it's very important to remember people care about the things that people pay for the things that they care about. It's the way it is. People pay for the things that they care about. When they say that we can't spare this money or give this money to low and middle income people, they're saying we don't really give a fuck about them. Right. Those aren't the people that we care about, right? Well, what do you care about? Well, we care about $1 trillion for the military. We care about this. We care about that, right? And so when America has always decided their priorities with their checkbooks, always. That's why reparations isn't going to happen, because America doesn't give a fuck about whether or not you niggas have ramen noodles or not. They just don't fucking care. And you look at a story like this, and it, like you said, it informs you directly on how it is that black sludge can be coming out of the water pipes in Jackson. You think that's impossible for people not to have clean drinking water, and then you look and you see that the money that is specifically allotted for poor people goes to people who are luminaries in Mississippi culture and to the volleyball team at Southern Miss. The Southern Miss Golden Eagles volleyball team. By the way, I'm going to be honest with you. If it was the football team, I could understand it. Okay.
Damn.
But the fact that it went to the volleyball team is just fucking disrespectful. Nobody's even going to those games.
Connections? What is Brett Favre's connection to the volleyball? Because apparently he was influential in wanting to get this money to this team or for this stadium.
Oh, Brett Favre was he wanted the money to go to volleyball?
Allegedly, he was influential in the stadium being built.
His daughter plays volleyball. Yo, man, wait a minute. We got to get Brett Favre out of here. wait a minute.
I told you.
Wait a minute. Braley. I was thinking about that. Why would they give the money to the volleyball team? Oh.
Apparently, he was in Phil Bryant's ear about the need to get this stadium built, which is why his name is coming up more.
Oh my God, this is so good. His daughter's on the volleyball team. Donnie, you didn't have that in the notes. Mongoose.
I told you that he was in the ear. Now, I don't know about the daughter. I figured that there was some type of connection, because why else would he want to be involved? But that's why he's under investigation. That's why his name keeps coming up. He was in Phil's ear about the need to get this stadium built. Now, did he know where Phil was pulling the money from? No, but it goes against Phil's argument talking about he didn't know where this money was coming from. Why was it so important for you to get the stadium built, to please the hometown hero?
So he paid Favre
the $1.1 million in 2017 to 2018. Okay. Braley Favre got to Southern Miss in 2017. She was actually a dog in volleyball. She's 6'2". And she was all-state first team in 2016. Made the second team in 2014. So there's another layer to this.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the other layer. Typically, if you're one of these people, let me tell you how slick Brett Favre is. And by the way, this now changes my assessment about whether or not he knew. Because I'm wondering why he thinks that the state would pay $5 million for a volleyball facility if he didn't know where that money was coming from. If he didn't know that this was money that they could be spending, why would he have the gumption to ask the state for a $5 million donation for a volleyball facility? Him being paid as a personal speaker is one thing. That could come from anything. But specifically $5 million coming from the state that's $6 million we're talking about now. That's a lot more money that it seems as if you know whether or not there was a slush fund of some kind that this money was coming from.
You really think Brett Favre was thinking about that? And I don't like Brett Favre. I'm just going to be, I like that. The man is not for me. But
Wrangler jeans.
But to say that, like, obviously he was in this former governor's ear trying to get him to fund a place for his daughter to play where they could have better recruitment, better facilities, where they could be, as successful as they can when it comes to volleyball. However, to say that he knew where the money was coming from is too much of a leap for me.
You don't ask. I mean, I said $1 million is a lot, but you're
it's a state school,
but you're getting paid for motor. But I know, but like by this point, you've taken in $6 million from them. I understand your point, and by the way, I could totally be wrong, but just this, people do this all the time, right? Like they have kids that go to schools and they donate huge sums of money to the school so they could either be the man. They could either curry favor with someone to make sure their kid plays, or they want to put their name on some sort of building. People do that kind of stuff all the time. If you're a well-to-do alumni, like when you have $300 million, Texas is going to hit you up and be like, yo, we want to build the Rachel Lindsay undergrad school for Black Girl Magic. And then you're gonna have to decide whether or not you want to donate money to the Rachel Lindsay undergrad school for Black Girl Magic. It's gonna be people going to the Rachel Lindsay undergrad school of Black Girl Magic, getting degrees in Black Girl Magic, and they're gonna want you to pay $10 million for that. That's what they're gonna want. Okay. In this one, Brett Favre was able to finagle this by making the fucking state pay for it, making the state make his donation for him.
Yeah, he did.
It seems that there's a level of intimacy in this that I wouldn't be surprised if Brett Favre knew that something fucking fishy was going on.
Now, Brett Favre has paid back most of the money from the 1.1.
Okay.
Apparently, he still owes like $230,000 or something like that. The question is, will he have to pay money for this? Because stadium's done, right? Or is it not? I don't know. Have they started construction? Have it, Donnie?
Oh my God.
Done.
Oh my God.
It's done.
Do you want to know where Braley Favre goes to school now?
Where? Jackson State?
No.
Where?
She goes to LSU.
LSU?
She is now on the LSU beach volleyball team. Graduate transfer. First of all,
Texas wouldn't let her in.
Texas wouldn't let her in. How long has she been in? She played indoors 2017, 2018. Volleyball. She's been in college for a long ass time, man. All right. We'll see what happens. But when white people scam the welfare system, things happen less quickly. So we're not sure. All right. 6 Days of Misery,
FEMA director says it's too early to say when Jackson, Mississippi residents will have clean running water. It's not certain when the O.B. Curtis plant, the main water plant servicing Jackson, will be fully operational again. All right. Friday night to Saturday night, plant output was increased to 86 pounds per square inch, close to their goal of 87 psi. But even when Jackson's boil water advisory is lifted, the state water treatment infrastructure will still be in a fragile state. This is what the mayor told this week, ABC's This Week on Sunday. Rachel, does it feel like we should do something a little bit more structured for the people of Jackson in their water crisis? What can we do? Mongoose, jump on. Rachel, what do you think?
I mean, somebody suggested on Reddit that we match donations.
We could do that. We could match donations.
We could do that.
I don't know what.
I don't know how we know where.
We'll figure it out. We got
how people have donated.
We're a fairly big show. We can figure it out. We can match donations. We can have Spotify get involved. We can compel upon the corporate people that pay us to make sure that the people of Mississippi get paid in clean drinking water. I'm not sure what Reddit is, but it.
Stop, because that was actually a really good suggestion. I know you want to talk negatively about them, but when they say something good, let's give them some credit.
You don't even care about them. Okay. You dismissed the Reddit. Before the Reddit turned on me, I was the biggest advocate of the Reddit. You didn't even care about the Reddit.
That's not true.
Now they're your biggest friends.
That's not true.
Yeah, but that's actually not a bad idea. We have to do something. This is just this isn't breakhearting. This heartbreaking, should I say breakhearting. This is infuriating. Like
has the White House said anything?
Yeah, they have. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, like the President Biden declared a state of emergency, and I think that's important that we say something. I see that everyone talks about the money that's sent to the Ukraine, and I said that as well. So I want to make sure that I'm very strategic in my criticism of U.S. policy, the White House, and what it is. I think that it's the optics of sending billions and billions of dollars to the Ukraine while people don't have clean water in America is, of course, putrid. But I took the time a little bit to educate myself on what exactly the differences are, right? And so you have to remember that you're talking about federal money being sent to a country, and then you have a couple of different things happening in Mississippi where you have a state that is governing how this money gets like disseminated or spent in their own state. And the story that we just did before this is an indicator of how sometimes like this isn't specifically an issue of what we should be doing at any flashpoint giving time, right? It's years and 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 years of corruption and dysfunction. So meaning that while it's fucked up that it's easy to send billions of dollars to aid to a foreign country with a pen stroke, like we make this really hard on ourselves, and the years of environmental racism that we go through, that we've gone through, it's a lot harder to litigate sometimes. So it's not wrong to say, hey, we're sending all of this money to the Ukraine, but the people in Mississippi don't have any drinking water. It makes it seem like our priorities are off. I'm not saying that there aren't. I'm just saying that there are a lot of things that happen before the money that's supposed to get to the people who need it gets there. And we have examples of that. So I don't want to make this current administration, I don't want to paint that, I don't want to one-to-one that as much as we've been doing. I understand it and I get it, and it's not wrong, but it's not also all the way right.
So does it highlight then that something's wrong with the system?
Sure, of course.
That it does take this long for money to trickle down, or should it even be trickling down? It should just be flat out, directed towards the issue. I think maybe that's what it is, like showing the bigger problem of like, there's an issue. Citizens who live in this country can't even function, can't even live, can't even do basic activities. And there's no clear path to how that's going to be rectified anytime soon. That seems to be.
So I've seen
and how do we fix that?
Right. I've seen a meme that says $1 billion here, $1 billion here, $1 billion there, that the U.S. is giving out, and then to Mississippi it says boil the water. And it's not like untrue, but how can I put this succinctly and clearly without making it seem like I'm carrying the administration's water? I'm not. I'm saying those two things are slightly different. And what I think the bigger criticism for me is coming from the fact that in a country that can afford to send billions and billions and billions and billions of dollars in aid to a foreign country, that you still have people here who don't have clean drinking water. That's indicative of not of priorities and dysfunction, like we said before.
Right.
But I don't think that Joe Biden and Kamala Harris don't give a shit about whether or not Mississippians have clean drinking water. I think it doesn't get lifted to the level of priority. You know what? No, I'm talking myself in circles here. I'm not sure. What I'm trying to say is,
I think your best thing is when you said it's not a one-to-one.
Yeah.
You're not excusing it, but to compare this to this, like it's not billions of dollars is to this as this is to this. I think that's what you're trying to say.
You know, it's a crazy thing.
Which makes sense.
But it is, though. It's simple.
Okay, so you talked yourself.
I am. Wait. Let's stay here for a second. It is, though. In its simplest definition, it is. But there's just a little bit more to it. Because if we knew that last year that Mississippi didn't have clean drinking water, it seems like that there should have been an alarm raised to someone that could go in there and head us off from the point that we're getting right now, where the kids are going to school, it's super fucking hot, all of that stuff. It's an issue that we're going to have to kind of deconstruct here so that we have better answers on how something like this can happen. Because I think the question that people are asking, and I apologize to the listening audience right now for me being so inarticulate about it, but I think the questions that people are asking right now are essentially, how in a country this rich could we be living like this? And I think when you see the money that's flowing outside of the borders of America, the question becomes even more pronounced, because you start to wonder, well, if they can do that, why can't they send the Army Corps of Engineers down there and spend the next 5-6 days fixing the water? And but we will get to the bottom. We might do a Higher Learning Investigates.
Oh, you want to start doing that?
I want to do a Higher Learning Investigates on the Mississippi water crisis.
Well, we should be talking to somebody boots on the ground who's there.
Sure.
Whether it's a resident, whether it's a politician, you know what I mean? Whether we said that last week, we're really going to do that. We'll start the investigation there.
Well, we've reached out to the mayor. We're waiting for the mayor to respond to us. But I also want a timeline of the O.B. Curtis of the O.B. Curtis facility and how its disintegration was able to happen, because sometimes things like this are death by 1,000 paper cuts, to where over years and years and years of mismanagement and neglect, you get a situation where things aren't tenable. And I think it's a good blueprint to places like this all over the country that have to get clean water to people. So we want to try to do that. I'm going to look into that. All right, let's take a break before we get to entertainment. All right, Tiffany Haddish has responded. She says that she deeply regrets acting in the sketch called Through a Pedophile's Eyes. Tiffany Haddish posted on her Instagram, says she deeply regrets acting in an old sketch with Aries Spears that has sparked a wave of criticism following a lawsuit from an anonymous woman who accused the comedians of exploiting her and her brother in sexually charged video skits when they were children. This was the message from Tiffany. I know people have a bunch of questions. I get it. I'm right there with you. Unfortunately, because there is an ongoing legal case, there's very little that I can say right now. But clearly, while this sketch was intended to be comedic, it wasn't funny at all. And I deeply regret having agreed to act in it.
I really look forward to being able to share a lot more about this situation as soon as I can. I sent the sketch to you.
You did?
Yeah, I sent it to you.
No, I watched something totally different.
Okay,
was that not it?
You watched the Dan Harmon sketch, I think.
Correct.
Okay.
I didn't see you send us something else.
I sent the sketch to you. Yeah, hold on. So it's. Do you want to watch it?
But here's the thing. I don't want to watch it. And I was going to ask you if you did. Because when you did send the Dan Harmon one, I was like, this should have come with some type of warning.
Yeah.
I was not prepared for I did not realize what I was walking into to watch. I was going to ask you, did you watch Tiffany Haddish? I did not realize you sent it to me, which means, yes, you did. I don't want to see it. We don't know much from what we knew when this news broke in our last podcast. There isn't a whole lot more information. There's just a whole lot of opinions from the public. Tiffany Haddish, as you just read, has commented, but as she said, there's not much that she can say because it's an ongoing legal issue,
right?
Which is true. But she does say that she regrets acting in it. And what I did see a lot of people speak on is, well, you had more of a responsibility than just acting in it. Like you were either, I don't know if she was friends, connected with the minors involved or the mother of the minors involved. She wrote this, directed it in some other way more than just appearing in it. So people were disappointed that she didn't take more responsibility. Than she just gave in that statement. I didn't see it.
Okay.
And I'm purposely not watching it. And I'm not, let me make clear, I'm not watching it because I'm, choosing a side. I just don't want to see it.
Right.
I just find it extremely disturbing. And I accidentally watched the Dan Harmon one, and that was too much for me.
So on examination of the sketch, I realized something. I had already seen it. So there was so let me paint the time for you guys. I'd say, especially out here in Los Angeles, there was a boom towards the late part of last decade to the late part of the 2000s to the early part of the 10s of a self-produced content. There was a self-produced content boom.
Yes.
YouTube explodes.
Mm-hmm.
And you see all of these different web series and all of these different self-produced sketches that are coming out, right? And people are uploading them in different places. Dan Harmon himself, who is the creator of Rick and Morty, Dan Harmon had this thing in LA called Channel 101, which was a running web series competition show that took place at CineSpace. You would submit a sketch, and then the audience would vote on whether or not they wanted another episode. So they give you a series order almost every single week. It was a fun time. And there was only a matter of time before comedians and people around started doing this for themselves, right?
Mm-hmm.
Kevin Hart had several different online YouTube personas. He would do the chocolate dropper thing. He would rap. He would do all kinds of different stuff, and they would produce these things. Aries Spears started doing this as well. I remember specifically Aries Spears doing it because he produced two sketches that I remember people really being disgusted by. One was this sketch where he was like like some kind of rapper. And he was rapping and he was in a thong in the video, and it was like all kinds of, it was just weird. It wasn't funny at all. Mm-hmm. And then there was this one. And I remember specifically being on the message board where somebody put this on the message board and said, no, Aries Spears is super duper sick. Like, this isn't funny. Nobody thought it was funny then, is my point. I remember watching it. I hadn't thought about it in years because this must have been like 2010, maybe a little bit after that, something like that. But nobody thought it was funny then, which is why he ended up removing it and taking it off Funny or Die. Everybody was uploading stuff to Funny or Die. There's an old, We Made It. You never saw me with Batman? You never saw that sketch before? You never seen that before?
We talked about it before,
Right.
and I looked it up.
Right. So everybody was doing this at the time. And a lot of those things from that era were really fucked up because people were doing stuff. So I didn't realize that I had seen it before. Seeing it now, it's even worse than I remember it then. And everybody got on their ass then. The only thing that we didn't know was who Tiffany Haddish was. You know what I mean? So we didn't know because she's only in the beginning of it, then she leaves. And so nobody even knew like who she was. And the focus of this ended up being on Aries Spears, right? Because Aries Spears at the time, number one, it was his sketch for his website. But at the time, it ended up being on Aries because he was the person that everybody knew. From what I'm to understand about this situation is that there's been some contact between the mother in this situation and Aries Spears over the years. And maybe, I don't even want to get into that. What I want to get into is, obviously this looks bad. The question is, if you're Aries or Tiffany, what do you do? Like, if you're Aries or Tiffany, that there is no way to defend the sketch itself. I don't want to talk about any of the other stuff that I know about this situation. But there is no way to defend the sketch itself. The question is, what do you do? Like, what do you do now? Is an apology enough here? Is some sort of mea culpa in a different way? I really don't know, because obviously that sketch is wrong.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Can you hear that barking?
No. Obviously that sketch is wrong. So what do you do?
It's hard to say. It's hard to say what you should do, because it sounds like you know more details than the rest of us do.
Well, the details I know won't change the fact that the sketch was made and people were in the sketch. So the details that I know, whether or not,
seem like it was something that would change your opinion.
No, it wouldn't change your opinion. It's just that it I don't want to give any details that I might know that might it doesn't matter, because the reality of it is that the sketch was still produced and made and they were still in it. So the question is, for Rachel Lindsay or Donnie Beacham to not have their opinion changed about Tiff, like, what would have to happen?
Well, I would want to hear more from her than the apology. I think what a lot of people want to understand is, why did this happen? Why would you even want to do it? What were you thinking? What was the motivation behind it that you were thinking? What was your relationship with this mother, that this mother signed off on allowing her children to be a part of it? What was the agreement? What was the discussion? Did she know? Did she see it? Like, I need that. I want to hear from the people that were actually involved. Take me back to this time period of how this all played out, how this was, agreed upon. It was recorded, and then it was up. Like, that's what I think people want to understand. Does it open them up for more criticism? Does it maybe allow people to say, oh, I understand where you were coming from? I don't know, but I think that's what people are looking for more than an apology. Because a lot of times what happens, because we know on this podcast, I'm always criticized for how I respond to people's apologies. But I think what it is, and I think this is the human nature, is when somebody apologizes after they're found out about something, it causes people to question that apology. It's just human nature. I'm not saying that that's right or that's wrong, but rather than being proactive with it and reactive is why you get such a strong reaction from people in their apologies, to whether they wonder if there's sincerity behind it or not. And I think that's what people are also questioning when it comes to Tiffany. I understand legally that she can't respond, and she shouldn't respond, because it is an ongoing case, and anything that she says could be used against her. Not saying I'm defending her. That's just how it goes down. But for her to speak out, and this is the response, it's natural that people are going to want more from her.
Yeah. You can only apologize after you're found out, though, right? Like, you think that Tiff should have, like, you think, like, I mean, just for anyone.
You can apologize before you're found out.
Like,
you can apologize before.
Can you give me an example, a good example? I'm just asking, a good example of somebody who's apologized before they got in trouble.
No, I'm not saying that they have. You said you can't. No, you can do it.
It's just, when I say you can't, I mean, it's like, who apologizes before they're in trouble? You know what I mean? It's like, so it's just, it would be so funny. That's hilarious.
Okay.
Wait.
Or like this.
Right.
No. Or like this. Obviously, this woman had contacted Tiffany and her team before it became public knowledge.
Not only has she contacted them, from what I understand, she's been paid some money in the past, and that she made
by who?
Look,
you can't say
and she continued to make demands like, take me out on the road, like, do this or do that, and if you don't do this, I'm gonna do that. And I don't want to say that in any way to make. I don't want to hold on real quick. I want to make sure that this gets out. I do not want to say that in any way to take away from how in poor taste the video itself it was, and how, really, to be honest with you, disgusting the video itself was. But the other part of that is just true. Like the other part of that from what I understand, there's been an ongoing attempt to leverage the video for because there's a person involved here who's a comic. There's a person involved here who seeks a career. So there's been an ongoing attempt to leverage the video into getting things out of people, especially after certain rises in fame and popularity that people might have had. So that doesn't take anything away from the fact that the video itself is not just disgusting, it's scary. But that's a thing. You know what I mean?
So I guess my point is about apologizing before it became public knowledge. So the moment that there could have been a world where you did whatever, whether there was money, some type of exchange or whatever to keep this under wraps. This person is continuously saying, no, I want more. And you just say, you know what? I'm going to come out and be like, let me tell you what happened. This happened.
I feel you.
There's this person doing this, or maybe you don't even say there's this person. I did this. I want to admit I'm wrong. This was wrong. This is like that kind of thing.
By the way,
ahead of it.
And I thought of somebody who did that, by the way, when you just said that. David Letterman did that on his show.
When?
He was on his show one time. I think there was somebody who had worked with David Letterman who was trying to extort him or was going to sue him or something like that. David Letterman went on the show and was like, I have had sex with people who work at this show before. And he went on this whole little thing talking about it. I guess so. Yeah, to your point. Score one for Big Rach.
Because we're keeping score now.
You know what?
Okay.
Hashtag pre-apology. We need to do more of that, bro. Seriously, man. A good but here's the thing, Rach. Rach, you're the mistress of apology. That's your name. Big Rach, aka the mistress of apology. If someone gives a pre-apology, Rach, you have to give them extra points for it. Because you
have to. Okay. You got ahead of it.
So you
didn't wait to see what would happen, how the public would respond. You just said, I did this.
Right. So what if what they're pre-apologizing for is really bad? Do they still get credit for a pre-apology?
You get +1 for coming out ahead of it, but you're gonna get like -10 for whatever the issue is.
Okay. We got 2 more big doozy topics in entertainment. And the first one, I don't want to talk about She-Hulk twerking, and I certainly don't want to talk about Ye, right? I don't want to talk about She-Hulk twerking because
wait, is that the ones we're going to talk about? Both of them?
Nope, we're not talking about either one of them. Right?
Okay, you just wanted to mention it.
I just wanted to mention. I wanted to let people know that I've seen the discourse about She-Hulk twerking. And by the way, I had screeners of She-Hulk and watched the first 4 episodes, a show that I am desperately in love with. I love She-Hulk, Attorney at Law. But the moment I saw She-Hulk twerk, I'm like, oh, they're going to lose their fucking minds. I knew it. That right there is an incel playground. You mean to tell me incels don't just have to worry about women that they can't get in reality shaking their ass? Now you have to CGI a woman who they can't get shaking her ass? Oh, that's like an incel. Their penis is probably curled up inside their bodies. You know what I mean? Like you know what I mean? When they probably all got innies right away. That's what happens to an incel when they get sexually turned on. The penis doesn't get hard and protrude out. The penis goes inside of an incel's body. Incels actually fuck themselves when they get mad. The penis goes inside of their body. And the pain makes them get on to the internet and type out mean things. Because the reality is, She-Hulk would never fuck any of the people who are mad that She-Hulk is twerking. So whatever. Whatever.
Does she look like that through the whole series, or does she revert back to human form?
She reverts back to human form sometimes.
Okay,
but she's She-Hulk. She's She-Hulk, Attorney at Law. I love the show. Love it.
I know, but the Hulk goes back and forth. I don't know. I never watched the show, but in the clip that I saw, she's full Hulk.
Yeah, she's full Hulk.
And so I didn't know.
All right, but this is the story that really brings a smile to my face. Larsa Pippen spotted dining with Michael Jordan's son in Miami. Marcus Jordan, the son of basketball legend Michael Jordan, was seen dining with Scottie Pippen's ex-wife, Larsa Pippen, on Sunday. Photos from TMZ show it's the first time the alleged couple was seen together. The Pippens divorced in 2021 after 14 years of marriage. The age gap between the pair is 17 years. Jordan is 31. Larsa Pippen is a poppin' 48 years of age.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
This is astounding.
I did not think this is the story that was going to get you so excited.
Oh my God. I can't. I'm a messy bitch is the problem. That's the problem.
Who do you think initiated this?
Don't matter.
Larsa? Okay.
Don't matter.
Doesn't matter.
Don't matter. Don't matter. Don't matter. Don't matter. Doesn't matter at all.
So I'm assuming the age doesn't bother you.
Nope.
It's the Jordan versus Pippen.
It's the fact. There's 2 things that bother me. Number 1, the Jordan versus Pippen aspect, I couldn't give a fuck less about. The thing that bothers me is she 100% met this person as a child. Boom. 100% met this person as a child. We did a story a couple of weeks ago about a guy that met a woman as a child, remember? And now they got married, blah, blah, blah. Everybody's like, ooh, googly moogly. It turns out that
I said I didn't have a problem with that.
True fact, you did. It turns out that was an accident. There is no possible way that Larsa Pippen has never met Marcus Jordan as a kid. What year, Donnie, give me some research. What year did Larsa Pippen and Scottie Pippen get together? What year? Give me some research, Donnie.
They definitely have.
97.
21 years, Amir.
97. What year was Marcus Jordan born?
Well, he's 31.
90.
So he's born in 90. 7, 8 years old, she probably met him.
Bulls won a championship 98. They was all at the championship parade together. You meet somebody when they're 8, you can't fuck them. That's the rule. I'm sorry. You meet somebody when they're 8. If this is in fact a date, this might just be. Nah, it looked like a date to me.
And that's my thing. No, it didn't look like a date. They were walking in together and they were sitting down. Not like people are jumping to the conclusion that it was a date. There was no hand holding, there was no canoodling, no kissing, no like hugging, nothing.
Right.
They were just at a restaurant in public, not even just the two of them, with other people. So when we're jumping to conclusions that they are.
Yeah. Yeah.
But let's just say that they are.
Give me the.
Are you telling me
get to the shit.
Anybody you meet,
yeah,
that's underage.
Here go the rules.
Because he's 31, mind you. It's not like she got him fresh when he was 17 or 18, waited for him to be legal. He's 31. He's 31. If this was 17, 18, I could totally see it. Because the moment this person turned legal, that means it seems predatory in nature because you were waiting for them. You've been watching them and waiting. He's 31.
If you meet somebody when they're 8,
no,
you can't fuck them.
This is so far removed.
If you meet somebody, no. if you ever opened a Coke can for somebody because they were a kid and couldn't do it for themselves, if you ever gave them money to go to a vending machine, right? You know what I mean? If you ever looked at someone and went, "Where's your mother?" No, if you ever, any of those things, you can't fuck them.
No,
you can't fuck them. This goes back to the imprinting thing, it goes back. This goes back to the imprinting thing, which was wrong then. By the way, Kalika broke down to me in detail the whole Renesmee. I'm sorry for pronouncing her name wrong, by the way, guys. Her name is Renesmee.
People are very upset about that.
People like Kalika broke down to me in detail the fact that Renesmee was an abomination, half human, half vamp. All of that. I don't give a fuck about none of that. You can't imprint on kids. Larsa Pippen imprinted on Marcus Jordan.
Then why did it take so long for it to come together?
Because
if she imprinted, it would have happened at 18.
She imprinted on Marcus Jordan. If in fact they dating, it's creepy to me. I'm sorry. It
happened 13 years ago.
It don't matter to me. You can't. If you met somebody when they're 8 years old, you can't fuck them later on. You can never fuck them.
Yeah.
Agree. I'm sorry.
Put up a poll.
I'm gonna lose the poll because I'm very sex positive. And you can fuck anyone who you want, and I'm passionate about this, but not if you met them when they were 8. It's weird. No,
only if you wait till they turn legal. That's my only issue.
Donnie,
watching them and waiting for it to happen.
Donnie, I want a paw with the Ghostbusters thing around it. No imprinting. Okay. I want Donnie.
Please don't waste your time, Donnie. I know you
Donnie,
have other
please.
things to do.
I want a paw with the ghost, but no imprinting. No imprinting on these kids, man. No, I'm against imprinting. How about that? She imprinted them. And by the way, this is so crazy. Think about the beef that's happening right now between Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen. I wouldn't be surprised if Jordan is on some fucking what's the Succession family name again? What's their name? What's the family from Succession?
Oh, gosh. Kendall.
The Roys. I wouldn't be surprised if he's on some Logan Roy shit and Jordan sent his kid to go fuck Scottie Pippen's ex-wife on purpose. It's like, there's one thing you can do to get the fortune, son. We have to show Scottie Pippen that the Jordans run this whole thing. Go fuck his wife. It's weird. And I gotta be honest with you, man. I'm not taking anything away. Larsa Pippen, come on, man. We can't do it like this, right? You can't. That's a little too close. You can't do that, right? Am I tripping? I'm sorry if I'm tripping. I could be tripping.
It's close, but it's not the age thing that's the closeness of it. It's the rift between the two of them. It's messy. It's messy for sure. If they are really dating, it's messy.
She imprinted on him.
The fact that they went to lunch and it got photographed, happened to be photographed by TMZ, it's messy. The whole thing is a setup and it's messy.
Can I be honest with you? if they're not dating, it would be incumbent upon them to come out and go ahead and let us off the hook for this. Because this is not the type of mess that I can deal with on a Labor Day.
Not if the intention was to be messy.
True.
Which it clearly was for it to be caught on camera. Who's paying attention to that?
I don't know.
In Miami on Labor Day weekend.
Damn, man. Imprinting. Donnie, Paul with a Ghostbuster sign through it. No imprinting. No imprinting. Like,
is there a way for you to use Van's hand?
Yeah. Use my hand, Paul.
Okay.
No imprinting. Like, she looking at him, God damn, you didn't got big, Marcus. No, no. That's weird. I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry. This is coming from the guy who talked about his mom's sexuality.
Oh,
even I have some limits. Love you, Mom.
That's your limit. Okay.
Yeah. Imprinting on children. I remember
he's not a child.
He was a child then. She imprinted. No imprinting. Shout out, anyway. Damn, man, I got to do some family on family violence. I didn't even tell OG about this. We both love Oronde Garrett, right?
Yeah.
So there's somebody in the OG.
I'm sorry. I just realized where this is going.
There's somebody in the OG family. So are you in business with Oronde? We have to say this.
I'm not.
You're not. Okay. I am. My manager is Oronde Garrett. Great man. He's done things with Rachel before, I think, right? Kind of. Okay. But he manages a lot of different people. One of the people that he manages is Idris Elba. I have to say this because it's pertinent to the story. Idris Elba had a movie come out called The Beast, and it was about him versus a lion. It was him versus a lion. Now, it wasn't Mountain Lion, so...
Music. Play the...
Come on, give it to
play
me.
the sound. The Beast.
The Beast is the name of the movie. Haven't seen it yet. Love Idris Elba. He was on Uninterrupted, and he got candid about what happens when British actors play Black Americans. Okay. Naomi Aki was recently cast to play Whitney Houston in the upcoming biopic, I Want to Dance with Somebody. They always name the biopics after a song. You know what I mean? It's like, do something else now. Dude, like,
how many times has that happened?
A lot.
Oh, Rocket Man, Bohemian
Rocket.
Rhapsody.
Walk the Line, All Eyes on Me. They always name it after.
Okay, true.
Like,
point made.
Ray was the only one that went in. Let's just call it Ray. So they do it all the time.
What would they have called it? If they were going to pick a song, what would they have called it?
Oh, You Got the Right One, Baby. That would be You Got the Right One, Baby. If the name of the movie was You Got the Right One, Baby, like, Jamie would have never won his Oscar. Do you remember they had never won the Oscar. Jamie Foxx for You Got the Right One, Baby. ... Do you remember the whole era of You Got the Right One, Baby? They did like 14 different.
I loved
for you guys who don't know, Ray Charles had a Diet Pepsi campaign where he was singing this song, You Got the Right One, Baby. And it was the girls, and they would sing. Yeah. You got the right. If they did it, hey. And they did You Got the Right One, Baby. Then they did You Got the Right One, Baby, the remix. They did other celebrities doing You Got the Right One, Baby, and then Ray Charles would be in the corner going, I don't know about that. You know what I mean? And then, like, that's how he looked. Then they had a long version of You Got the Right One, Baby, You Got the Right One, Baby all over the world. Video. Yeah. So anyway, but I loved it. That was unfortunately that was like my introduction to Ray Charles. I didn't really know much about him until You Got the Right One, Baby.
No, the Cosby episode.
The Cosby episodes, yeah, it's actually probably
that was my introduction.
Right. Anyway, So we'll do a whole breakdown on "You Got the Right One, Baby" like, on the podcast.
I loved it.
I loved it so much. Donnie, play a little bit of well, take us out with "You Got the Right One, Baby." So Idris Elba talked about the fact that, you know, the criticism coming from Black Americans, people all over the diaspora about Black Brits playing American roles is, quote, unintelligent. Donnie, run the audio.
Have you followed this story? And I want to ask you about this with actors who are Black and the whole idea of English Black actors taking American roles. I was in a bar. I was at Chiltern, having a drink, and next to me, the actor who's playing Whitney Houston. She's English. And I said, I hope you know, Black women in America are going to be like, English woman you're playing one of the most iconic African-American women ever. And it's a thing. What do you feel about that?
Even the way you framed it up, of taking American roles, right?
Yeah,
it's crazy that
it's crazy that
right?
it's,
Like,
it's
But
like,
you know what I noticed? You said a Black woman in America versus an English woman. Like, being English makes you less Black.
exactly. That's the issue.
Like,
That's the issue.
to me, that defines how unintelligent the whole argument is. No disrespect to anyone
course.
that has that feelings. It is what it is. But the fact is, we're all Black. Like, let's just be, you know, you get a Scottish actor playing an Irish character or an English actor, you don't hear about the debate. But amongst ourselves, we want to point fingers because we come from a conditioning that makes people just make sure, where are you from and are you authentic from where you're from?
How Black are you? Which is
how
crazy.
Black are you? You know, and it comes down to the caste system. And it's annoying to me, really annoying. My grandfather fought the Second World War for this country, US, comes from Kansas City. I come to this country and someone's saying to me, you ain't American. I'm like, huh? How dare you?
Yeah, exactly.
But the truth is, you know, what am I going to bring that out as some sort of like argument?
Well, the idea, it's a character. I mean, it's for anybody.
It's
really.
acting.
It's acting.
How
It's
do you
acting.
feel
Cultural
about that?
appropriation, though, is
Yeah.
definitely something that we should pay attention
sure.
to. But in the acting profession, one should be allowed to play.
I'm probably never going to go against Idris. I'm just not. I think that points were made. And I think that there was a use of certain words that I think throw off the argument or the point that he was trying to make. But I do agree with the whole, it does seem to be this conversation that we have within our own community of not necessarily my Black is better than your Black, but more of like, this Black is reserved for this and this Black is reserved for that. And I don't necessarily think that that's fair when I am thinking of Black actors that have played certain roles, English Black actors or actresses that have played certain roles like Daniel Kaluuya and Fred Hampton. As Fred Hampton in Judas and the Black Messiah. I don't know that not him being English made the role, like change what he did in that role. Like so I understand the point. I see the other side of it, but to me, I think that we're making it a bigger deal than it needs to be. I did not have a problem with Cynthia Erivo playing Harriet Tubman. I didn't look at her as, wow, this is this Black English actress playing this American Black woman. I just looked at the representation of it. And so to me, I don't think it's that big of a deal.
What do you think I think?
That it is?
Hell yeah. And let me tell you why. So I think that 0% of what he said had merit, if I'm being honest with you. That's a big round nothing burger. Okay. He's a great guy and a very strong Black man. So I can understand where he's coming from. I don't think that people are looking at this as a value judgment when they're talking about the difference between someone that's Black from the UK and someone that's Black from from America. The great thing about the diaspora
is that there's one thing that unites us, but culturally, like there's a culture that unites us, but culturally we're not necessarily the same. The slang is different, the talk is different, the music can be different, the cuisine is different, the things that make up culture, sometimes the very gods, the worship, the customs, all of those things can be different. Hell, those things can be different throughout the diaspora. Those things are different here in America. They're all different, right?
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? So things are different. So, but there's one thing that is the same. One thing that continuously gets, and I'm going to talk about this from the heart, one thing that continuously gets reiterated to me is sometimes there's a specific view of Black Americans. It seems as if that Black Americans are looked at, and I want to say this very carefully, but we've seen this before sometimes, the way groups that we share skin color with from all over diaspora look at us. And at times they'll say things, and at times we'll say things. And it's not always as copacetic as people want to make it seem. But one thing that is very important to me, and it doesn't really have anything to do so much with acting, it has something to do with identity. To me, it is the birthright of a Black American to have played Harriet Tubman. It is the birthright of a Black American to have played Fred Hampton. It is the birthright of a Black American, to me, to play Whitney Houston, because the things that are specific to us here and the challenges that we've had to overcome, to me, they indicate that our experiences, the performers that are here that are closer to those experiences, that they're able to play them out on screen. Doesn't mean that they have to, but if you ask me this question, it seems as if increasingly when these biopics are coming out, they're choosing people from across the pond to play us. And that's a commentary on Black Americans who all too often are seen as the lowest bottom of the barrel, most criticized people that can be in the world. When we've had conversations about whoever it was, we've had people on this very podcast say things about what their life in America was like, having been an immigrant and coming over, and the different priorities that they had, and the different way that they looked at the world, and the different way that people look at the world, and how we don't have this and we don't have that. We've all talked about that. That's all well and good. I have no issue with that. People feel like either we have a culture problem, or that we are squandering American freedom, or any of those things, right? Nobody's blacker than anybody else, but we certainly are different. I'm not looking for a separation, but I'm also don't want somebody playing these characters and then or benefiting from the Black American experience and then coming around in the same token and criticizing it. Some of the very people that we're talking about in these roles, when you look back into their old Twitter stuff, they straight up dissing Black people, Black Americans.
Who did that?
I don't want to bring it up because it's in the past, but it's definitely, it 1000% happened, and I don't want to bring it up.
Oh, I'm not doubting you. I just am not unfamiliar
because
with
I don't want to dredge anything back up. But when that shit starts to happen, I'm not calling for a separation or anything like that. What I'm talking about is the fact that Idris Elba would say, well, it's acting. Well, it's acting anytime it happens, right? It's acting if a white person wants to play a Japanese person. It's acting if a white person wants to play somebody from North Africa. It's all acting. I get that. But when we're saying, at least for me, when I'm saying that I would like Black Americans to be able to play icons in Black American life, it is because the experience of those people in the past directly informed to me who we are and what we are today. And I think for authenticity, I think also to be honest with you, to do a solid to the Black American actor who is not looked at in the same regard as actors from across the pond sometimes, I think those roles do belong at home. I don't care when they don't. It's not like a big thing. I'm not gonna fucking flip out. But to say this, like, that the argument is either unintelligent or made not in good faith is asinine. And to me, as much as I love Idris, love him, think he's a great guy, that's minimizing. It's a huge fucking thing. It's a huge thing. And to be honest with you, moving forward, no, it's definitely happened in the inverse. Denzel Washington played Steve Biko. Like, we've seen, I think Morgan Freeman played Mandela. Like, we've seen this in the past. But going forward, they're not going to, Chadwick Boseman played T'Challa, even though that's a fictional character. But going forward, everyone is going to want the right to represent the place that they come from on the screen. And Black Americans are no different except for one thing. We have more people that people want to make movies about. That is the only difference. Like, if I made a cast right now, Black guys, English guys, they were all Black, somebody's going to be, it happens, right? But if it was of somebody really of real import, right? Like, people are going to want, like, right now, if they made a Bob Marley movie, if they made a Bob Marley movie right now and it was Nick Cannon as Bob Marley, people are going to be like, we can't find a Jamaican or somebody like that to portray somebody that is so indelible and so like inextricable from our culture. They're going to want that. And there's nothing wrong with wanting that. I agree that there's nothing wrong with wanting that. I understand every single thing that you said. And I understood what, is it Idris or Idris? I always say this wrong. It's Idris. I understand what Idris was trying to say. I said, I think he used certain words in the wrong way, but I do understand being on the defense that my Blackness is reserved for this in some areas and for this, because that's essentially what is being said. And I do think that there's an argument to, like, this isn't a Zoe Saldana playing Nina Simone. That's not what this is. Why? What's the difference? She doesn't look like her. She identifies as Black in addition to other things, but Nina Simone was Black. I'm not talking about being a Black American. She's not even just Black. She's there's a total difference. Like, it's not. These are there's a difference. Hold on. There's a difference. That's like Zazie playing the character. Let me ask you a question. Do you think that Idris Elba would think that there was a difference? Yes. I would hope he did. Absolutely doubt it. Well, if he doesn't, then I have a problem with that, because I think that it's one thing if you're casting someone because they embody the physique, the physicality, the whatever it is, the being of the person that you're playing on camera, then I understand that. But to cast somebody who looks nothing like that person and doesn't even have the same she's more than just Black, to me, that's totally different. That's totally different. But it's arbitrary though, because if one distinction doesn't matter, then none of them matter, right? So no, that's not true. Zoe Saldana, it's a Black woman playing a Black woman. So you're saying no, she's not just a Black woman though. Who, Zoe Saldana? That's how she identifies. She's not just a Black woman. It doesn't matter if she's just a Black woman. Drake is not just a Black man, but he Black. So Drake could have played Fred Hampton. No, I'm not. To me, that would be stupid. But this is the point that I'm making. The point that I make. I mean, darkening somebody's skin for something is obviously a lot more. I'm not. And that's what they had to do with her. I know, but what I'm saying is that in a certain situation, all of these things are arbitrary. The lines that we're drawing them because of what we feel to be culturally competent. And just as somebody is saying, I think it's culturally incompetent to have to darken somebody's skin, even if they're Black, right? Even if they're Black, I think it's culturally incompetent to have to darken somebody's skin to play a role, right? The only reason why I care about that is because there's dark-skinned women who can play Nina Simone.
Why would you get somebody who, it's not because Zoe Saldana isn't black, right? There's darker skinned women who can play Nina Simone. So why would you just get a darker skinned woman who can play Nina Simone to play Nina Simone? And number one, Nina Simone, who was so absolutely militant and so passionate about all of those things, right? Or Fred Hampton. Love Daniel, love the performance, don't have any issue with it, ate it up, was so happy for him when he won. But the reality of the situation is, in that particular situation, there were Black American performers who I feel like could have played Fred Hampton. And so to me, all of these things have to do with what's culturally competent and what's culturally incompetent. And I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with what's going on, but I'm saying is there's obviously a conversation that has to be had, because but
you're also saying that they shouldn't be playing it moving forward. You shouldn't.
No, when I'm like, the shouldn't be doesn't really rate to me. Like, because there's no shouldn't be to me. The reason why there's no shouldn't be to me is because there's only be and not be. Shouldn't doesn't really matter. What I'm saying is that the criticism of it is totally valid. I'm not going to stand in anybody's way making money or giving great performances, because the art is the art, right? Now, what you talked about with Nina Simone is a fantastic point, but it's just a lot more flagrant. What I'm talking about right now is this argument is nuanced, but it's essentially the same one. And the reality is, to say that Black Americans shouldn't safeguard their culture specifically, right, is an interesting point to make when we're assailed by people who come over here sometimes, or when we're talked down to sometimes by that, or when forget about the assailed or talked down to, when there's acknowledgments everywhere that there are differences. And I would want a Canadian to play Drake in his biopic. That's so important to him. Like, the 6 is so important to him. I would want a Canadian to play Drake in his biopic. I would want that. Like, I would want a Jamaican to play Bob Marley.
You would want that.
I would want a South African.
But are you going to think it's wrong if that's not the case?
No, but I wouldn't be mad if they thought it was wrong. You see what I'm saying? So like, I wouldn't be, so I wouldn't be mad, but I wouldn't be mad if they thought it was wrong. If they were like, damn, it would be so dope to have a young kid from Toronto play Drake because he meant so much to this city. You know what I'm saying? It would be so dope. Like,
I get you.
Yeah, I wouldn't be mad if they thought it was wrong.
I get you. I guess I also understand the defensiveness, because I think with like an Idris or even Naomi in this movie that's coming out, I think that she would say something along the lines of, I grew up on Whitney Houston. I loved Whitney Houston. She meant so much and she was influential in my life. And I think that Whitney could be just as influential in her music, in her representation of being a Black woman and taking over and being a pop icon in that sense, that, and being just this global superstar. And she could say she meant that much to me too, even though I wasn't born in the same country that she is. I think that's where you get defensive, because you're saying, well, Whitney didn't. It's almost as if you're saying Whitney didn't mean as much to her as she meant to me.
I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying that there's also some latent racism that comes into this entire situation with casting directors.
I think that's very interesting.
With casting directors and people like that who still might have the tendency to look at Black Brits or Blacks from other places as superior creatively or talent-wise to Black Americans sometimes. And when they come over here, they get the roles. So it's like, look, it's not that big of a deal when it happens, but it is a bigger deal to kind of tell us to shut up about it, or to say that the criticism itself is unintelligent. It definitely comes from a very informed place. Your tall, handsome ass. Well, you know what? Like, you don't criticize us, tall, great-looking nigga. Go fight some more lions and do other great things. I love you so much. You're a great person, but I don't agree. All right. Van's very serious question of the week. Actually, it's a Thought Wars serious question of the week. So this is one gotta go. Voice only. Voice only. One gotta go. Beyonce. Whitney Houston.
Who else?
Mariah Carey. Did you hear they're making a Beyonce movie starring Letitia Wright as Beyonce? Did you hear about that movie? Letitia Wright as Beyonce.
Haven't heard of it.
Mm-hmm. Mariah Carey, who'll be played by Lupita Nyong'o in an upcoming movie. And Adele. So it's Beyonce, Whitney Houston, Mariah, and Adele. One got to go voice-wise. Just voice. Just on voice. One got to go.
Just voice.
Just voice.
Just on voice. Beyonce.
Crazy. Crazy. Do you think Adele sings better than Beyonce?
I think Adele has a better voice.
You think, so just straight up, we just gonna sang. Adele sings better than Beyonce.
Adele's a better voice.
Nuts. Adele gotta go.
I guess Adele's why? Because she's white?
Nah, it's not because she's white, just because she ain't got that, she ain't got that thing. She can sing her ass off.
Yes, she can.
Well, I could tell.
I look at Beyonce as an overall, if the category was different and it wasn't voice, I would definitely kept Beyonce. And I'm not saying Beyonce doesn't have a fantastic voice, but Whitney and Mariah, like, please, we're not even going to touch that.
Whitney Houston and Luther Vandross have the best voices I've ever heard. Nobody sings better than them.
The debate is obviously in this category between Adele or Beyonce. Beyonce is obviously the overall better artist. With hands down. Obviously, between Adele and Beyonce, if it was about overall artistry to me, like Beyonce, hands down. But we're just talking voice alone. What makes Beyonce great is everything she brings in addition to her
Y'all
voice.
hate on her. She like,
but no, I'm not. She's an incredible performer.
Yeah.
Like
Beyonce can
what she
sing
brings
her
to the stage,
fucking ass off.
Then say Beyonce can
like she
sing.
sings better than Adele. She sings better than Adele.
Nothing highlights it more than Dreamgirls.
You like that movie?
Sorry.
Right.
Nothing highlights it more. Jennifer Hudson versus the Beyonce.
Two different voices.
All four of those women have different voices.
I know, but I'm talking about
not that they're not. It's highlighting the better vocalist. It's not saying she can't sing. I'd be an idiot to say that.
Well, I know.
They're all different voices.
But the only reason why I said that is because you said it's everything. It's everything with Beyonce. Adele has a great voice for someone who's cosplaying as an R&B singer. Like Adele has a great voice. Like she does. Nobody sounds like that.
Adele
has a great voice. She's an amazing
She's not
voice.
Cosplaying.
She ain't got that thing.
Nobody sounds like that.
She ain't got that thing though. That thing.
Different type of voice.
That thing.
Like people
brings you to that thing.
People put Celine Dion as one of the greatest. She ain't got that thing either.
Once again, Celine Dion can sing her ass off. To me, that type of singing, I'm never gonna say that Celine Dion sings better than Beyonce. Ever. To be honest with you, there are people who are like Christina Aguilera. It's a different situation. Like Christina Aguilera.
You put Christina over Beyonce.
I wouldn't. But what I'm saying is,
because you're scared of the Beehive.
I'm not scared of the Beehive. I don't understand. I don't understand this thing about Beyonce's voice. When I hear Beyonce sing, Beyonce is a top flight, #1 howler. She can go.
She's a great voice. I'm not denying that. That's not the question of does she have a great voice. It's out of these 4 women, does she have one of the greatest?
I don't hear that thing about like Adele is a fantastic, amazing
Christina
singer.
Aguilera was a great point. That was a good one to bring up. That was a good one.
You bring up Christina Aguilera, it starts getting hairy for a lot of these motherfuckers, okay? Like she just go. I was doing Lady Marmalade.
We got to come in and check on you. It was not.
She can go. I'm not fucking around. Adele, not as much to me. I love Adele. I like fire in her. Fire.
Wait, is Kalika in the room still?
No, she's gone.
Ask Kalika.
This is how Adele sounds to me. I got a fire in the rain, and I got
not even her best song to choose. Not even the best song to choose. Donnie, your opinion?
I'm with Van.
Your opinion?
Of course.
Y'all are scared.
Yeah.
Y'all are scared.
No.
Y'all are scared. You're scared.
No.
To say Beyonce. I get it. It's not the song I would have chosen.
I love that
It's not the song I would have chosen.
I love that
It's
song.
not the song.
I love that song. I'm gonna be honest with you. Okay, we gotta go. All right, everybody. It's Labor Day today. But this is on tomorrow, so I guess that doesn't mean anything. Donnie, take us out with "We Got the Right One, Baby." So people can remember what Ray Charles gave us in the last moments of his life. Actually, he lived like 10 years after that. That's actually not true.
What?
We out here. Take the caps off, but do not stop learning. I'm Van Lathan Jr.
I'm Rachel and Lindsay.
You hold it, you hear it, you taste it, it's right. You got the right one, baby. Uncontestably tasteable and intimately wonderful. You got the right one, baby.
Woo! Rest in peace, Ray.